Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett, and today I'm going to be doing a Ask Me Anything video on autism. Now, I asked for a bunch of questions over my last video, and also I went on Reddit and a few other places to ask anyone if you want to ask me anything, feel free to do so. And I'm picking questions from that, questions I've gotten in the past before all this, and also probably some interesting questions others have gotten. So as far as that goes, let's talk about my autism real quick before we get into the questions itself. As far as my autism, someone figured out a level system. I think this is somewhat new. If you're looked into autism, as far as parents asking questions or autistic people ask questions on Reddit or some other places, you get where people are asking what is levels. I've never really came across it until the other day, but apparently I'll be like on level 1. But as far as medically and whatever, I am considered as high functioning autistic. I was diagnosed as autistic and with Asperger's before. They were two different things. Obviously now the Asperger's is merged into autistic, and it's within autism spectrum. Also, back before I was even diagnosed with those two, I was diagnosed with ADD. But keep in mind, like 90% of the kids back then, obviously a little bit of exaggeration there, but 90% of the kids back then was diagnosed with ADD. It was very common. Mostly, okay, a teacher doesn't want to deal with a kid, they would get them diagnosed, and surprise, surprise, the doctor will diagnose them and has to deal with a money game. But as far as then there's a few other things where I had to go through speech therapy for majority of my life, even still to now, and then I had to go through handwriting therapy, motor skills therapy, and I got rid of that because I peaked in performance late in high school, and it just, they end up having to give me tools to get around having to write to teachers and whatever, because the teachers were complaining too much that they couldn't read my writing. Luckily now everything is on computers, so that's not a big problem. And it wasn't too many years back when all this happened. This was I graduated high school 07, so it wasn't too many years back. So as far as that goes, get into here. Let's get into the actual questions. If you want to know detail my background, feel free to check out the LinkedIn, and if you want to know the detail on the autistic disability background, I think I got videos on that already. I don't want to spend 10 minutes here just explaining that a little bit. But anyways, let's jump on into the questions. So getting into a very simple question. Was my favorite drinks? I don't drink alcohol. I don't care for that. I don't even care for being around others who drink alcohol. But as far as, sodas and other stuff, I like sweet tea. It's, I'm in the South, and most people here drink sweet tea. Apparently, I didn't know this until not long ago, about last year or year before, that most people up north don't. And I don't know if that was just someone's observation, and that was just a single person's observation. That's it. If you want to confirm that, let me know if you're up north in the United States. But in the South, that's what you're going to find out through is sweet tea or unsweet tea. But anyways, tea. Oh, and I might as well add this into here. I don't drink coffee. One thing that was found a while back is with some people with disabilities, specifically like autism or some other stuff, and this is not a all-inclusive type of thing. This is just some people. Caffeine does opposites from what a regular person. Like for me, it does nothing unless if I drank pure caffeine, and then it might do something, but it does nothing for me or even puts me asleep. Whereas a normal person, it would keep them awake and whatever. And for me, it's, why am I going to drink something that tastes like dog water? Uh, yeah, you can get something from Starbucks and whatever, and yeah, that's like a treat. But, I don't drink coffee for the most part because of that. Because unless it tastes really, really good, it does nothing for me. And if it doesn't taste good, well, the fact is that's just torture. So the next question. So next question is, can I describe what my day-to-day life was like? So I'm going to break this part in two sections. So the first section being what it was like when I was a kid versus now. And so as far as when I was a kid, real quick, my dad was down in Florida. I was with them. This was after 2000 time frame. And my mom was up here in North Carolina, and they weren't divorced. Basically, my mom was having trouble finding a job down there. That she's well up there, but in some areas it's very difficult to find jobs. And then on top of that, she couldn't sell the house up here, and that's something that I guess I learned about very quickly about the housing market from that and how crappy it is. So as far as that goes, that's a thing to keep in mind with what I'm about to tell you. That my parents were apart, but they were working, and they were working very difficult in their lives. My dad, he went to work around sometimes 5 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning, sometimes up to 6 in the morning, but normally about 4 or 5 in the morning. And then he will be back around 9, 10, 11 time frame. So he worked most of the time. And he wasn't out drinking. He doesn't drink. He doesn't party. He doesn't do anything. You can tell he was strictly working, and that's it. And that was just the life and the cards that we were dealt. Unfortunately, kind of, I wouldn't say completely paid off, but slightly paid off later on with all the hard work. But at what cost? That's one thing I would mention right now. So as far as that goes, because he was doing that, my sister was useless. Part of the way, she actually was yanked and put back up with where my mom was, because she got involved with drugs and stuff like that. And they didn't want that around myself. And you can't have that when you got someone that's spent all the time working. So what ended up happening is I ended up learning how to cook, clean, and take care of myself, like how to wash clothes, how to cook for myself, prep food, how to clean the place, and stuff of this nature. It wasn't exactly forced upon me. Like if I wanted to, I could have waited around and just my dad probably brought home McDonald's, which he did sometimes. But for the most part, I have had to learn how to basically do these things. And with that being said, I didn't really have any friends. Actually, I didn't have any friends at the time at all. And it was mostly because I didn't know where I'll be from one week to the next. It wasn't like we were moving around each week, but it was that because my parents were hard at trying to put us in one location, for my mom and dad and everybody, into one location. Well, I didn't know when it was going to happen, and I didn't see a point of making friends, and even at the time, I really had a tough time, mostly because of between stresses and whatever. But anyways, a lot of people will see the bad in that. The good in that, and what some people should take away from that little story is the fact I was able to learn how to do the basics: cook, prep food, clean, wash clothes, stuff like that. And these things you will end up having to do, and many people have to do, in order to survive. And the thing is it turns out a lot of people, with or without disabilities, who don't ever get a chance to learn this because their parents just don't teach them, or it's not forced upon them in any form or fashion. Well, the thing is they don't know how to cook, or they don't know how to prep food, or they have a really tough time with, for a year or two with laundry and some of this other stuff. The fact is a lot of people go out in the world and they never really had to deal with this stuff. They kind of were babied and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that's bad, but it kind of is. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I am saying it's bad. Well, the thing is it's something that I think should be taught to any kid that's grown up in a first world country, is how to do these basic things, how to basically take care of yourself. Because when you go out in the real world, you don't want to be forced to shack up with someone because you don't know how to do some of the stuff. They don't know how to do some stuff, and it takes a team effort in order to get it done. And then once you figure it out, well, you're kind of screwed because you don't know how to try to find someone that you actually really want to be with. And I think that's what a lot of people run into problems with. I could be wrong about that. But as far as that goes, it is a worthwhile skill and does put the person ahead. Now, obviously, I wouldn't say leave the kid alone for so many hours and deal with that. Basically, what I would say is have the kid join you when they're cooking. I don't care if they're 5 or 10 or whatever. Have the kid join you when they're cooking. Have the kid join you when you're cleaning, when you're washing clothes, when you're washing your car, stuff of this nature. The reason why you need to have them join you on this stuff is you're teaching them. You're always teaching them. And it's more so that it's a repetitive nature where they actually know, okay, when I'm out on my own, this is what needs to be done. They're not going to know it, but either they're going to see it through other people, or maybe they put their own kid out and they don't do that, and they'll find out, oh crap, this is actually what was happening. I was actually learning all that time how to take care of myself. So that's something I would advise, whether the kid's disabled or not. Have them learn how to do these basic things. And the neat thing is you might find, well, the kid might find that they might like it. They might like cooking. They might want to be a chef. They might like dealing with cars, so they might want to be a mechanic or a mechanical engineer or something of this nature. They might like whatever, and or they might like not necessarily the cleaning, but the why is it bubbling? Why is it this? So they might go into chemistry and encourage them to make their own soaps and stuff, and encourage them to do these type of things in order to benefit them later on. It's a little message I just want to get across on that, because otherwise it's going to be like with the people who are grown up now. They're screwed for the most part. If they want to eat, they go to McDonald's and they slowly figure out how to prep food right, how to cook things, and they slowly figure out how to not get food poisoning from what they're cooking, stuff like that. And I don't care if they're male or female. You got to learn this stuff. You might be alone. So as far as that goes, that's what it was like when I was a kid. I know it was a little bit long. As far as now, it's basically I'm working on my last degree. I have 3 degrees right now. Working on my 4th degree. Working on a industrial technology degree. And my day is wrapped around that, or wrapped around doing some freelance work, some coding, some this YouTube, either doing back end deals with trying to get review products, trying to do research on stuff to do something, or trying to learn about or do something, some projects. You'll find that with a lot of my videos, a lot of it that's project based. It's I have made the video so I can review it later because I was doing a project to see how it's possible to do something, or I needed it for something for some particular purpose, and in case if I have to do it again, I can review that video and I know what I did, or if I got to fix it, I know what I did. So it's between that and all this other stuff. I don't really get a chance to interact with anyone. So I mean, this helps by quite leaps and bounds. Sometimes I play games and stuff like that, but it's mostly trying to get school and stuff like that done. I might deal with like business stuff, freelance and whatever. This country, United States, or some other country like Hong Kong or whatever, doing coding or whatever. But all that's business. It's nothing, nothing real. There, when you play games with people, you might get some connections there, which is good. But as far as things goes, my main focus at this time is just getting this school stuff done, and that way I can, have a little bit more of a secure as far as the job market and stuff like that because of the crap job market and whatever. But anyways, as far as that goes, let's move on to the next question. If you want me to get a little bit more detail about a particular thing, then let me know. But that question was so much open broad that, it's the best I could come up with. So this is a multi-question, and I'm trying to break it up in the thing down below so you can jump to whatever question you want. But as far as that goes, the first one is, how's your job going as a programmer? So as far as the programming thing, I am not a full-time programmer. I deal with freelance work and stuff of this nature, program my own stuff and deal with that. But I'm also a full-time student. So with that being said, I focus more on my school, but if I can get a programming position at full-time, fully remote, okay paying or great paying programming position, I would not mind taking it and going with it. But at this time, I mostly do freelance or some of this stuff. Reason why is what you'll find if you're doing work, even basic work, and going to school at the same time. It's thing I'll get into a little bit later in the what I dislike of having autism is it's mentally draining, and the fact is about impossible to do both full-time work and school at the same time. You kind of have to pick one or the other, unfortunately. You can do it, but it's going to be very difficult. Where someone else, it might be very, very simple. It's very difficult, the mindsets and stuff like that. So as far as that goes, it's one thing to note. But like I said, if a company does come around and offers a pretty good paying position, it's fully remote and all that, then I'll take it. I'll be stupid not to take it, given it, it works out and everything, it's above board. But anyways, as far as that goes, let's move on. So next question is, how many relationships have I been in? And I'm not really comfortable answering this, but the answer is more than one, less than 1,000. I honestly don't know off the top of my head. It's probably gonna be less than 5. I honestly don't know off the top of my head. And the thing is define relationship. I know they're talking about romantic relationship based on the context of stuff, but that's the thing is define it. It's a difficult thing to say. Is for me to have feelings for someone, it's very difficult. For showing it is one thing, but for me just to have feelings, it's very difficult. And like a lot of check marks have to be hit basically, and it's very difficult just having that as far as me finding a person that it's going to hit a lot of those check marks. So as far as that goes, let's move on. Because again, that's a very uncomfortable question. Next question, do you think you benefit from your autism? No. Next question. All right, seriously. The answer to this is it depends. Basically, I used to do stock market trading, and I made a fairly good amount of money in there. And in fact, I found out later on I was really good at it. So I thought it was just normal. I was averaging around, I think it was 7,000, something like that. Every so often. But that a benefit because pattern recognition. And one thing that happens with autism and many other disabilities like this, but especially autism, is you become very obsessed with things. The reason why I'm not really doing stock market stuff too much more, like I try to force myself back into it once in a while because of the money. But the thing is if you're obsessed with it, you're all in. If you're not, you're just completely and utterly uninterested. That's just how things go. I just stopped caring about it, and I just dropped it. Like I still got accounts and stuff like that, so I could jump in anytime I want, but I'd have no real interest. And that's a big thing. Is like, okay, I was really interested into dinosaurs, into finding them and all that stuff, and lost that interest, and I didn't have access to doing that. But then I got interested into astronomy and lost that interest, and then got interested into aerospace, lost that interest, and it goes down. And there's no doubt in my mind, sooner or later, I'm not going to be interested into coding and technology and networking and stuff of this nature. With that being said, it's very obvious that I need to be able to focus on one thing, because doing job hopping from this industry to that industry to another industry, it's not good at all. I need to be able to focus towards retirement, whether you like it or I like it or not. So technology pays really good. I imagine that I'll probably be interested into something in technology, whether it be in coding or not. I could pretty much guarantee, like, if it's in coding, it's not going to be. But there's networking, then there's other things like designing. There's other things within technology. You got augmented reality, you got virtual reality, you got games, you got phones, you got communication, you got this and that and so on. So there's enough there that I might be able to find something to keep me through until retirement. If I end up doing the job hop thing because of that. But when you're interested into something, you're autistic, you're all in. And when I was doing the stock market thing, I was all in, and I was able to make quite a bit of money off of virtually nothing, like turning $35 into several $100s, turning several $100, turning like, I think it was $80 into like $5,000, stuff like that, because you're all in. And then when you're just losing insurance, it's like, oh, okay, it's not really there anymore, and you just lose focus. And like if I was going there right now, you might be saying, well, why don't I just go in there and keep doing that? It's because I'll be losing money. I have no interest into it. And yeah, gain interest because of you're losing money. That doesn't happen. It's like, okay, it's whatever, and it's just money type of thing. I mean, like, I go for things I can buy with money, and it seems like a very money focus is because of I want to retire, and I know I'm gonna do these things where I'm going from one industry or within the technology industry, going from one thing to the next, but that requires a lot of money, whereas the normal person doesn't have to worry about that or having the stability of being with someone or whatever. So as far as that goes, hopefully that kind of answers your question there. So it does benefit depending, but could really be a disadvantage. One area that there's almost always a disadvantage is in the social aspect. I found in manufacturing and places like that, that's a horrible place for an autistic person to work. Between the noise, between other things, they will probably become suicidal very suddenly over time or quickly, depending on how bad it is. But there's a lot of social aspect, and I lost a job dealing with that, with the social aspect, because there's a lot of backstabbing and stuff like that, and it's very difficult to deal with that. Not so much that, oh, you're going to be stressed out. It's more of, hey, that person stabbed you in the back, and you can't tell, and you don't have your help. You don't have someone to say, hey, that person stabbed you in the back, unless if your relative works in a manufacturer with you and they actually give a crap about you, or you got some long-life friend with you at a manufacturer. But more than not, the person's not going to have that, and that's where the problem comes into play. Is you got the backstabbing, and you got the other thing, the office politics, so to speak, and that's where things unravel fairly quickly. So as far as that goes, that's something to note. Why I dislike having autism. So as far as why I dislike having autism, who says I dislike it? No, but seriously, if I had a choice, if there was a cure, like a magic pill or a shot or something that would cure me, and there was no side effects and whatever, it was just, here's the cure, there you go, I probably would take it. Given I could afford it and all this other stuff. But I mean, right there, you can see it right there. It's the overthinking. That's the biggest thing that's I dislike having with autism. Is like right there. I'm trying to tell you that, okay, if there's a cure out there, I would take it. But I'm like, okay, if there's side effects, I wouldn't. If I gotta pay a lot, I wouldn't. It's like if I had to go in a hole as far as the debt and whatever, I wouldn't. And I'm overthinking things when I could just say, if there's a cure, I would take it. And 90% of people, I'm pretty sure, would understand what I mean from that. That's the biggest thing I hate about being autistic, is you constantly overthink things, even simple, stupid things like that. And that was what I think to be a perfect example. And so I had started a channel the other day, I think, on beekeeping and farming and whatever. See if it could be an extra revenue stream and whatever. And I haven't played around with that much. I need to upload some more videos to it. But the thing is where a normal person, they'll spend probably about a day, give or take, thinking about starting a channel. Like they already have experiences starting one or starting a few channels, but they'll spend a day or so thinking about it. Maybe doing pros and cons. Okay, pros, you get an actual revenue stream. It's helping people out, things like that. And cons is it's just a waste of time type of thing. And there's that. So there's no real con as far as it's not going to cost you a job, because it's not demeaning stuff. It's not like I'm waving around a dildo and slapping people in the face with it and doing some demeaning things like that for money. I wouldn't doubt there's videos like that, and I wouldn't doubt that they make several $1,000s easily, but I wouldn't do that. In that particular channel, it's simply going and saying, this is how I take care of bees. This is how I take care of grapes. This is how to do this. Things like that. It's stuff like what I'm doing on this channel, but more on the farming and the hands-on type of stuff. In a workplace, being in technology or whatever, they probably won't give two craps, or they'll say, hey, that makes you a little bit more interesting, so that sets you apart and puts you above someone else. So there's no problem there, but still, I spent 2 weeks or more, probably more, but 2 weeks, I think, just thinking about it. And we're not talking about average person. They say 2 weeks, they might say an hour here, an hour there, type of thing. No, when I say 2 weeks, and when an autism person says 2 weeks, they mean every or just about every waking moment, and even sometimes sleeping moment, thinking about it. What can go wrong? How can go right? How to best do the marketing? How to best do the videos? How to best do this? How to back out if it goes wrong? How to tell if it's going wrong? How to tell if it's wasting my time? Or how to benefit off of it? Stuff like that. It's not the worrying. It's the planning. Like, it's not a pure, okay, it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. It's not that at all. It's, what if it goes wrong? All right, we just do nothing. All right, so what if it goes right? Try to get sponsors, try to do that. Okay, how do I get sponsors? And it goes down that rabbit hole. And it just goes on and on and on. Where a normal person would probably do a pros and cons and say, okay, that's no real con here besides, it might be a waste of time or whatever. But, you don't know, so you try it and then you know. Well, the thing is that's not how an autistic person works most of the time. Yeah, sometimes that's what happens, whereas like, okay, I don't know until I try. But I spent a lot of time overthinking things, over planning things that doesn't ever happen, for just overthinking stuff. Just a constant battle. And a lot of people might say, well, that might be a little bit normal. But the thing to understand is, again, when a person says 2 weeks, an average person says 2 weeks, I'm assuming from how most people talk that they're talking about a couple hours here or there. But, if you add up the time, it's probably about maybe half a day at most. But, though, again, for an autistic person, it's pretty much that full 2 weeks. And it's so mentally draining that you can't do much else. Just add it onto there, what I dislike having, now that I'm thinking about it, is the assessments. I can't really talk. Being assessed with things is fine. Being assessed with the right thing is fine, especially if you're like myself and able to channel it into something that's worthwhile. It's like sometimes you get stuck on something like a game or something like this. but being assessed with certain things, it becomes a problem when you're not interested into it anymore, or when you have a gap between you're interested in something else. And this becomes a problem because depression comes in and fear of things come in between the assessments. It's almost like a high type of thing where you're learning about something, you know everything about whatever it is that you're learning about, and it's like a dopamine rush type of thing, and then you don't care about it, and you don't know what the next thing's gonna be, and you're in that between spot, and you're in your lows. So that's something that I don't know if that's a common thing, but it happens with me, and I'm pretty sure it does happen with others. But yeah, that happens. So as far as that goes, let's move on. So I'm mixing the two questions together. Next one: your workout routine and diets. And well, actually, let's mix the hobby in there too. So workout routine, non-existing. Diets, like when I was younger, I was actually obsessed with working out, and doing that, and I was like, okay, I understand this, let's move on, type of thing. And that was fine back then. In fact, I tore up parts of my body from overworking out. But as far as that goes, the workout routine, it's non-existent now. It's just, I don't really care about it. I have I have literally no reason to, do that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, take care of yourself, whatever. Okay. Why? Why am I? As long as I'm not like, 400 or 500 pound type of thing, as long as I'm not a roly poly, why am I going to go and torture myself when I'm not around other people ever, when I'm not with anyone relationship wise? I don't have kids at this time. What actual reason do I got to take care of myself in that matter? As long as I'm not, a roly poly, I know that might offend some people, but get over it. Well, the thing is, and by the way, did you know autism people tend to not give a crap what you think about with offending you, or at least they'll offend you quite easily because they don't mean it. Well, the thing is, why should I care? Now, with that being said, sometimes walk, sometimes not. But that's about it. I imagine this is going to change after I, get into a relationship and actually have actual reasons. And it does change once in a while. Like, okay, when you're out with bees, or when you're dealing with farming stuff, there's that. It's very heavy. It's very labor intensive. Even if you're doing it on your home property, it's very labor intensive. And the fact is there's that. But the thing is at this time, as we're talking, I don't have a reason, so I don't care. And as far as the diet, it's health. I don't, if I eat something junk wise, it's on a rare basis. I eat vegetables, I eat meat, it's whatever. Now, I'm going to get a little bit more into the diet in a second or two. A tip for parents and whatnot on the diet portion. But as far as right now, it's just like whatever. If I don't like it, I don't eat it. If I like it, if I want it, I go eat it. If I can afford it, and I go eat it. It's simple as that. Why am I going to? If it's not hurting anyone else, if I'm not a roly-poly, and since I got really no other reason to, no real reason to, work out every day or every week and all that stuff, why am I going to take the one thing away that I actually enjoy, which is sleeping and eating? So as far as the hobbies thing, I guess you say this. There's gaming, a few other things. I used to be into playing instruments. I used to play violin. I used to play guitar. I used to play acoustic guitar. I used to play bass guitar. I used to play electric guitar. I got very good at them. Then I just lost interest. I was like, didn't care. I never really actually got good at violin. I used to play a trumpet. I used to paint. I used to do all this other stuff, but it's like it's again the session thing where you just lose interest and you just move on. Sometimes you come back to it and whatever, but you just lose interest and you just move on, type of thing. But as far as hobbies goes, currently it's mostly this and gaming and stuff like that. I imagine some that's probably going to change in the future. It might change into, something else. Maybe flying drones. Maybe soldering something. Maybe doing whatever. I don't know. But if whatever happens, that's when I'll know. So as far as that goes, I mean that's important notes is the hobbies change along with the sessions, because even though like say for example, if I was obsessed with quantum physics, I would also be obsessed with some other things like playing a guitar, like playing it to my fingers bleed and still playing it past that, because trying to get good, trying to know everything, trying to be able to hear a piece of music and actually know exactly how that is played on their given guitar. Used to, be like that. But as far as that goes, that's the best you can do with your sessions. Is once you lost your care, that's that. So there's that. As far as things I don't care about, it's cars. But it's a good thing to note that even though I was interested into instruments and some of these other things, not all autistic people care about that. Like some autistic people, they love cars. I don't like cars at all. I never cared for cars. If I don't even have to drive one, I want it. And I see it as a complete waste of time, except for the fact that you have to use them to get point A to point B. If there was a better way to do it, to go through it, it's like I would prefer a car to drive itself, and that way I can work on something at the same time or sleep. But my point in saying that is my hobbies will be completely different from another person's or another autistic person's. But what you'll probably find is easily the stuff will jump from one thing to another. Either instruments, one instrument to the next, or like games, one game to the next, or this one thing to the next, or it could be a multitude of things. Like I used to be into rowing boats, and then I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. So yeah. So a quick tip for the diet part for parents, and others. What I found to be more true or not, because quite a few other people with autistic problems, abilities, whatever you want to call it, what they found is from them doing it, I doing it, and whatever. Cut out all processed flours when you're growing up, and a little bit after. Basically, as the brain's developing, cut it all out. Anything with processed flour. Anything, try to get it where you get nothing processed, but specifically processed flour. Cut that out. There's a few other things cut out, but that is the biggest. Uh, the reason why is a lot of people who are growing up with autistic problems, they tend to be observed having anger issues. I used to have it back in the day. Other people used to have it. It's not really that hard to find. But the thing is for some weird reason, the processed flour screws with the chemistry to a nth degree, and by just cutting it out, it helps with the aggression. It helps with a few other things. And it takes 2 weeks for you to start noticing something in either the person or them noticing something. It takes about a month for them to notice themselves, given that they would notice something in themselves and start with. But it takes about 2 weeks, give or take, to notice something in the person. So it's important to note that not having that processed flour is important. So like something like birthday cakes and whatever, just have ice cream cake if you want to go down that route. Make sure it's not processed flour type of breads, or at least minimum as possible. If diet, like if that's the only thing you can give, make sure you do on a minimum basis, and that hopefully will help you. A lot of people have observed that to be true. Now, I don't have any scientific data to back me up on that, so I just got life experience to back me up on that. So contact a nutrition and whatever, if you want to talk about them, but just from life experience, I'm just telling you that. So as far as the next question, my future plans. Kind of got into this already, but what was the future? So I'm going to include this. What does the future look like? And basically, what I'm aiming for is after I'm done with my degree, I'm aiming for having a good, stable job, fully remote, preferably. And I'm already looking at with a purchase of 200 acres around that, and farming that out, or some other large plots of land and farming that out, and dealing with that, having that as side income. That's something I found kind of important if you're going to be like myself, where you're jumping from one job to the next, or jump from this to that, because of entrance and stuff like that. It's best to have these side incomes, passive incomes, like YouTube and whatnot. Like I use YouTube mostly for this particular channel, in fact, mostly for a resume, giant resume, saying, "Hey, look at me! I know how to program. I know how to do networking." Da da da. But it's a passive income. I can literally stop making videos, and I still will get a set amount of money from the people watching it, and that's pretty important to note. So if you get into some other things, I don't know, like maybe you write a book, or write some software, or farming or whatever. Farm is not as passive, unless you know what you're doing. But I mean, it's basically you're looking for long-term passive side incomes, and that way it helps you go from one place to another, gain the skills, and be able to put it into the next position. But as far as that goes, my future is less and less unsure. If the job market doesn't kick back up, I probably will end up going into the military, if not trying the foreign officer stuff first. Foreign officer is basically someone that works in the embassy. I just want to see if I can pass the test more than less. I don't really care about becoming a foreign officer, but military is a possibility. I'm not a huge fan of it because over the years, something happened. Something happened with me where, in the past, if I was in the military and they said kill, probably would end up happening. But something happened where I don't think I could, and even if I had to. So I honestly don't know what happened, but that's something that would have to be noted if I ever do go in the military. But as far as that goes, it's very unsure because of the job market. If the job market ever picks up to a worthwhile level here in the United States, or at least here in North Carolina, then I can tell you with a certainty of what I would be doing up to retirement. But the main thing is getting these side incomes coming in, and that way I don't have to worry about things. I can go for retirement and stuff like that. And if I have to go in the military, I have to go in the military, or if I have to do some of these other things, I got to do some of these other things. But it's very uncertain because of the job market. Now, as far as relationships, kids, whatnot, if I can't find anyone, I can't find anyone. But let's put it this way, I would really like for that to happen. So, as far as that goes, let's move on. Oh, and as far as this channel, I don't know. I can tell you what I thought it was going to be last week, and what I thought it was going to be a year ago, and what I thought it was going to be 2 years ago. Honestly, that changes so often that there's no point of even trying anymore. Like I can guess and whatever what this channel is going to be like, or what the next phase is going to be like. But honestly, with everything being so uncertain with the job markets and the other stuff, I honestly can't tell you for 100% certain. I know that's very uncomforting, and I'm one of the few people on here, technology-wise, that will straight up tell you things are not good, and I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. It's the job market-wise. So that's a big thing to note. And that might, set a lot of people back as far as thinking about getting into technology, but it's across the board. I don't care what you're getting into. It's pretty bad right now. And until it gets better, I don't know. And that's one reason why Trump got in, by the way. And I mean, look at what he was praising, is more jobs, more jobs, more jobs, while he already wasn't. And a lot of people like myself, they're scared because you don't know. That's has nothing to do with autism. That's just the facts. Tips for other autistic people. So as far as this goes, I kind of gave a few tips and probably give a few more as I go through here. But one of the best tips I can give to an autistic person is basically, if you're going to be assessed about something, try to channel it into something that will help you tomorrow or help your family tomorrow. And practice. One of the reasons why I initially started this channel, side reason, it's not the main reason, is the practice. Go back in my videos. I hadn't really deleted that many at all. Go back in my videos from the very start and take a look at how I was talking, what it sounded like. Yeah, there's different mics and whatever, but seriously, you can see I really didn't want to do it. And I became more and more comfortable over time. In fact, this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for me practicing and doing that for several years. That's just fairly important to note, is you got to get your confidence up in whatever, especially in social, because a lot of people are going to say you're going to be bad at it, and that's not a lie. There's merit to it. But at the same time, it's like there's a study where if you say girls are horrible at math and boys are good at it, and then you start a test and you say, oh, this given test, both boys and girls tested equally, there are studies that say, hey, that they will end up testing equally, but if you put someone down, they're gonna live up to those expectations or live down to them, depending on which way it is. The fact is you need to just not pay attention to it too much, but practice and gain the self confidence and learn very quickly that some people just don't know what they're talking about. So as far as that goes, and that includes myself, I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. I'm just saying random words and hoping that something logical comes out. So as far as that goes, let's move on to some. Oh, I'm going to skip the next one, but maybe the following. So the next one is, how often do I hit on women? So I guess it's approach women if single. Yes, I am single. And why if you don't do so? So as far as that goes, I don't for the most part. Yes, I'm straight, so note that. But I don't, because there really isn't too many that's around me. The fact is where I'm at now. I don't live in the city. I live in the country. Like it takes 15 minutes, 60 mile an hour just to get to the nearest town. Let's put it that way. It's out there. Even when I lived in a city, when I was in Cocoa Beach, a small city but still a city, I really didn't like. I tried a few times there, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Most of the time it didn't. Fact matter is how often it happens now. Not really ever. But how do I? That might be what you're trying to ask. Is I just get to know them. I don't say, hey, sexy or some stupid crap like that. The fact is there's a criteria that I put out. And I think most people need to do this to help with the divorce rate and crap. Basically, there's a criteria. So first things first is try to get to know the person. Their name, basic information. Then over time of getting to know them, if you find that they aren't asking you questions, they aren't interested. So like say for example, you asked them, okay, what's their name, what's their job, what's this, what's that, whatever. And at certain points, if you ask them like say 3 to 5 things and they don't ask you a single thing back besides, oh, what's your name, or asking you the direct same question, they're not really interested and they're not really serious. Especially if you go into the 5 range, they're not really interested at all. They're interested of getting the attention. That's one thing I learned the hard way. I don't go to bars any of that, by the way. There's not really too many options than dating sites and stuff of this nature for many people who don't go to bars. I don't drink. Hey, let's meet someone in the bar. What do you do in the bar? Drink. Why am I going to meet someone in the bar who I don't want to meet a drunk? So there's not really too many options there. And oh, hey, let's go into clubs. I don't really like clubs. So why am I going to meet someone there? Meeting someone on a job, it's definitely going to happen right now. But meeting someone on a job that never really was been a viable source, because when I was all my jobs, everybody else was married, or you end up having the next person being 2 times like say for example, if I was 20, the next person would be almost 50. So that was not optional to itself for obvious reasons. So with that, the fact is dating sites is pretty much it, and then getting to know the person. What I found is the person has to fit a basic criteria. First off, they have to be actually serious. They got to be serious and trying to find someone or trying to get to know someone. If they're not even serious or trying to get to know someone, then they're not worth my time. So they're there for fun or something else. They're there to have sex, but not really say they're for that. And if you call them out on that, they'll be like, no, but they really will eventually admit in it. It's one of those type of things where, okay, a fling is not good. We're going for a relationship. So if they aren't willing to get to know you, then it's not worth it. Then the second thing is, for me personally, they can't have kids already, but they got to want to have kids eventually. I'm not taking care of someone else's kids. And from talking to other people listening to other people who's autistic, this is a common trait. Is a lot of people who don't have kids or never been in that situation where you had to take care of someone else's kid. I never really met someone who actually had to take care of someone else's kid that's autistic, but none of us think that we would take care of the kid. It's simply not fair on the kid itself. There's no emotional connection. It's like, okay, you're eating my food. I'm paying for the food, and why am I feeding it to you? It's stuff like that. It's like, oh, the kid argues with me saying, oh, you're not my father. Well, all the crap's gonna be out on the lawn. I say, well, move out. Simple as that. There's no emotional connection, and it's like just a random stranger living there that's growing, and you teach them something once in a while, but it's like a dog, where there's no real connection there. Just some random person, random whatever. I know it's going to come out horribly wrong, but keep in mind there's not too many analogies I can come up with on this. It's just basically like a random stranger. The best way I can describe it. That's what a lot of people who has autistic problems think what it's going to be like if you're taking care of someone else's kid. If you're taking care of your own kid, there's emotional connection. There's actual reason to see them succeed, a logical reason to see them succeed. Whereas if it's someone else's kid, why do I care if they fail? Where if it's, say, your own biological kid, or maybe you adopted them at a young age, okay, fine there. But basically, logically speaking, it won't work. And I think this is almost across the board, because again, from what I'm hearing from a lot of people who are autistic or some degree of having some type of mental disability like this, that's high functioning, able to function in society and everything else, kind of says that. I don't start the conversation or anything like that. And some people go on YouTube and say that. But that's just how things are. I know it might horrify some people, but it's just simply not fair to that kid. Okay, if a kid's hurting in the street or whatever, take care of them. If a kid's starving, feed them. If they want to go to Shriners Hospital, take them there. They want to go to whatever hospital, take them there. But the fact is if they're going to be living in the house that you're living in, they're not your kid. There's no real emotional attachment. They're just baggage. And it's like a stranger living there, but you can't kick them out necessarily because it's, the other person's kid and it's just baggage. I know that might be horrifying to some people, but I hope that some people understand. So my viewers tend to be pretty good as far as not going off the rail. So Next thing for me particularly, because I dealt with so many drunks and I don't care for drunks at all between in my family and other places. I that's one thing that I won't stand for is them drinking, them smoking, them doing illegal drugs, stuff of that nature, and pot and stuff like that. I won't stand for that at all. That they want to do that, you gotta go somewhere else. I ain't dealing with that. So it's again like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't want to be around that. So why am I gonna go in a bar to get someone? Why am I gonna go into a cigarette shop or cigar shop, whatever it is, to find someone? I mean, it makes no sense. And I don't want to be around that at all. Now, with that being said, obviously, if the person drinks once in a long while, like New Year's or a birthday or something like that, whatever. But if they're a drunk during those times, I'll have really nothing to deal with them, and that's just how things are gonna be because of how drunks are. So I don't care for that. It's stupid. It's a waste of money. It's if you drink for recreational purposes and you're spending your own money or whatever, doing your own thing, it's your deal. It's under your house or someone else's house. It's whatever. And I don't have to lay in bed with you at night. But the fact is if you're a drunk, you're an idiot and you're useless to me, even in business. And trust me, if I find out you're a drunk and I'm in business with like we're competing for the same job, I'm gonna use that against you, massively so. I have no quorums with that. So that's a big thing for me is that, and also the person has to have a idea of what they're aiming for. Like with me, I'm aiming for coding, programming, networking, technology, yada yada, fluff stuff. But there's a lot of people out there who don't have a single clue on what type of jobs they want. Even 25 years old or older, you should have. Really, in my opinion, if you're 22, you should start getting an idea. 25, you really should have an idea. And going further, you should have an idea on what you want to do. There's a lot of people who have no idea. I was born in '87. There's a lot of people who, it's my age, have no idea what they want to do. And it's not because the job market's crap. It's because they have no motivation. And I don't care for doing that. If you think you want to be a writer, even though I might think it's stupid as all out, that's fine. At least you got some goals in your life. At least you got something going for you. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to do this, you want to do that, fine. But if working at KFC or whatever for the rest of your life it suits you, it's not gonna be for me. I'm be see ya type of thing. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure some of that probably turn off some people or horrified some, but that's just me. Some autistic people, they're different. They're different on that type of stuff. But what you'll probably find more than not is there's a set list of criteria that the person doesn't meet all the check marks as far as the entire 9 yards. I mean, there's more things that goes on there, but if the person doesn't meet all the check marks, then, or get very close to meeting all the check marks, depending on how lonely the person is, it doesn't happen. The person prefers to be lonely than to deal with that crap. And there's normally a pretty freaking good reason why those check marks are there. It's a lot of people will say, "Oh, autistic people, they don't like other people breaking rules and whatever. Well, usually they make these own rules for themselves. Like, you'll find more than not a lot of autists people don't give two craps about someone else breaking the rule unless if it's much younger or if it has direct relations to themselves. So, for example, if I gotta go 55 mile an hour, no miles per hour above, and you go 60 mile an hour and you're breaking that rule, well, that's a direct correlation. But if I don't even drive and you're going 60 mile an hour and I'm 200 miles away and I just know about it, I'd, be irked a little, but, it's whatever type of thing. Same thing with most people. Unless it has a direct correlation, normally they don't care. And this definitely has a direct correlation because those rules tend to be made by the actual person, and they tend to be there for an actual good reason. And basically you just have to accept that they can't be broke or they can't be bent that far. So as far as that goes, let's move on. So as far as the next one, it is, when did you realize that you could do more than what your label has? And the person privately messaged me, and they kind of expanded upon this a bit. Basically, they're wondering about how did I realize that I had more potential beyond what the IQ labels had given to me. Did some specific intervention help, or just exploring my limits help? And how about the school system? So as far as that goes, I'm going to just answer the school system. How did the school system accept it separately? I don't exactly know what they mean by accept it, but yeah. So as far as going beyond the limitations of my IQ or what was listed as far as my IQ and stuff. Well, first things first is IQ labeling is BS all around. I'm actually taking a psychology course, and this week there was an actual module into this type of stuff where you had SAT, Florida was FCAT, some other stuff that's used for standardization, testing the IQ and testing how well the person is reading, writing, math, what skills are. Well, as far as things goes, part of the discussion, every single person, just about every single person, is saying that how horrible the IQ system is. And even in psychology stuff, they're saying in there how horrible. And for some reason, I got to take psychology for industrial technology, which is networking, like Cisco networking crap. But yeah, school wants money. But basically, what's being found is these IQ tests are crap. They were originally made to aid teachers in teaching, not to be a stick for the teacher and the student, and not to be a stick for the student. At least it's made to say, hey, this student needs help in these areas, so it aids them and knows what the teacher will know what the student needs. So it's BS, and even back then, even when I had to take some of that, I was able to tell some of that, but not to a good degree, and there was no evidence to back it. Now, as far as that goes, there was nothing saying I was too stupid to do stuff. That's a big thing to note into itself. There's nothing, like my parents never said, you cannot do this because you're too stupid. If I said like, oh, I want to be a rock star, which I never did, I'm pretty sure they're going to say you're an effing moron, because that would call for it. But the fact is I'm probably not those words, but the fact is my parents and pretty much everybody around me didn't actually put me down for the IQ stuff. my biggest thing when I was in high school, I was going to go into the military. I was told when I was got out of high school, some colonels and generals told me not to go in, and that's when the Afghanistan stuff where they stopped going in, and Iraq stuff where they stopped going in, and they started kicking people out. But as far as that goes, I never really showed too much ambition and stuff because I never really was exposed to many things. Now, with that being in mind, if I wanted to do something like woodworking or whatever it is, and if I had the resources, I would just do it. Even if the person said, "Oh, you can't do it for some reason," I would give it a legitimate try, unless if that person was an expert in the field, or they're saying, "Oh, you can't do this because you're gonna get hurt," because I've seen people get hurt. It's like when I was going through OSHA courses from aerospace, they're talking about you can't do these certain things because your fingernails will start falling out and stuff like that, and your teeth will start falling out from the chemicals and stuff like that. Well, the thing is you're listening to someone worthwhile because they say this will cause actual real problems if you do these things. In those situations, I listen and whatever. But if a person was to tell me I was too stupid to actually do something, I wouldn't listen. I just simply would not listen and just try to do it anyways. It's not a matter, oh, you insulted me, so I feel like doing it even more so. No, I mean, I'll get pissy with you and have nothing to do with you for a good long time or ever again. But for the most part, I would not listen. I say, I want to go into coding. Tomorrow I start coding. I want to go into playing guitar. As long as I got ability to get my hands on guitar, I learn how to play guitar fairly well. I want to go into whatever. I go into that tomorrow. Oh, I want to go into being around politics. I go start talking to politicians and stuff, and that's how you can gain some contacts and stuff. Nothing that lasts ages, because if you don't keep them up, then there's that. And there's things like that. I mean, like I've been in a newspaper several times already, in multiple areas, because and I would not doubt in 6 months to a year I'll be probably in an air newspaper, because I'm trying to work out something for the Internet Society. And it's less about getting someone else's permission, less about someone saying, "Oh, you're too stupid" or whatever. It's like I don't care. You're a drunk. You're an idiot. You're a smoke. Your kids hate you, or whatever it may be. Like if my parents said it, there'd been a little bit more respect there. But even at that, it'll be brought up, and then I'll do it. Either I'll find a way to get my hands on it and do it, given that it's physically possible, or I would have the resources and try it myself. Anyways, I want to go into, I don't know, like at one point I looked in chiropractic, like trying to do chiropractic. Well, talk to chiropractors, actually talk to the schools, talk to this, talk to that, do some detailed research, and found out, no, I don't want to do chiropractic, and I don't care about it anymore, and move on to the next. That's a big thing with me, is okay, I can't do it, I don't have the resources to do it, so I do all the research and see if I actually want to do it. If I don't want to do it after that, then just move on, whatever. If I still want to do it, then do it. And find the people who give me recommendations. It's like when I was going through the high school, I made crap scores, real crap scores, and I wanted to go into the Air Force as a cargo pilot. And basically, going through ROTC, going through all that, getting to know generals, getting to know colonels and stuff, and I was aiming for the Air Force Academy. I don't know if I would actually got in if I actually tried. But I was even contacting the counselors and stuff when I was midway through high school. So I had a couple years go, and I was contacting them, and I probably could got in. Probably would not been able to make it through, but probably could have got in. Still had to go through the prep test because Air Force Academy. If your scores are not high enough and you're able to get in, you have to have a center sign off recommendation. Which would not have been hard. I already had contacts getting in through that, because I had a little bit of interest into contacting those type of people. And if my scores wasn't going to be high enough, which they weren't, then there's prep centers, and you just have to go through that, and it took a little bit longer, but I could have got through and go from there. Now I don't know if I can made it all the way through. I've probably been kicked out from low grades or something like that, but I could have probably got in, but I lost all entrance towards the end. I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. And that's the big thing with the accession thing. It's like when you don't care, you just kind of drop, and it's like whatever, and move on to something else. And luckily during that time, one big thing that helped with getting rid of that session is the colonels and stuff that don't come in were about to kick people out left and right, and that was right before they got out of Iraq and whatever in 2007 timeframe. So as far as that goes, hopefully that answers your question there. And did a specific intervention help, or just exploring my own limits? There is some help I've gotten to explore and stuff. You need to have for anyone who's parents of someone who's autistic, you need to be very much there. The teachers will try to railroad you. I got into this in past videos and stuff, but the biggest thing is you need to be there to make sure that the kid doesn't try something so outlandish where they will fall very hard, because the bigger the thing is, the bigger it'll fall. So I mean, don't say, hey, you're stupid or whatever. Say, this might not be a good idea because of this, and this. And bring some logic to the table. Autistic people like to listen to logic and facts. If you bring that to the table, then there's definitely some eyes and ears on what you're saying. So as far as that goes, maybe that'll help. But with logic to the table, sometimes that doesn't work. I remember when I was going into the workforce, I got into the manufacturing world, and before I got in, several places with credible sources said autistic people don't work well in manufacturing, and it's an extremely high chance that I won't be able to even make it through without major help. And it turns out they were right. I was stronghold there, just not to prove them wrong or anything like that. I really didn't give a crap what they're saying, and it was more or less because it was like the only job that I knew about before I got into coding and some of these other stuff, majorly into it. But that's one thing that you got to keep in mind. Some of those sources actually tell the truth, and if they say don't work in manufacturing, might be a good idea not to if you can help it. So obviously if you can't help it, you can't help it, because getting crap job market. When and how did school system accept it? When and how did the school system accept it? So as far as this question goes, the school system kind of was into it before I really give two crats about it. When I was growing up, I don't think I already covered this, but when I was growing up, I didn't really start talking until late in the game. Like I was like 3 or something like that. And before then, I was like mumbling and stuff like that. But I had to get surgery, and then afterwards, I started talking. I had to go through speech therapy, motor skills therapy, and stuff like that. When I was younger, starting around second or third grade, I think third grade. During that time, I was diagnosed with ADD and a few other things, and later on, they diagnosed me with autism and Asperger's. Well, the thing is during the entire trip, it was the same from start to end. After went on to this track, with high school wise, college wise, it's whatever type of thing. I'll get into that real quick after I talk about this, but the biggest thing to note is after I started high school, I spent while other people were doing the while other people were doing the electives and stuff. Other than ROTC, that's what got me out of the this most days. But while other people were doing electives or whatever it is, there's a lot of people who had to go to special education classes. These are BS classes. Basically, what happens, and this is the honest truth. I wish they would get rid of them, or modify them in such a extreme way that it's not like this. Because I've been through a few places, and it's exactly the same through and through. Basically, what happens is you're told to go to this classroom at this given time, like any other class. But the thing is it's meant so you can actually work on your homework or whatever it is, and get a little bit extra time to work on your stuff. You can also go there for a test. So if you got to get extra time on test or have a quiet room test or whatever it is, then you can do it there. And that's fine. The quiet room, whatever it is fine in itself. But the problem is you're sitting there. You have to. You're surrounded by 4 walls. The teacher doesn't give so much of a crap that they don't give an assignment at all. Half the time when they give assignment is like coloring books. It's like they're treating you like you're a retard or something. And the fact is you're sitting there, like, okay, what do I do? And this is and to the point that you're there day in, not day in day out, but every single day that you're going to school. You're seeing those 4 walls with nothing to do. If you personally don't have anything to do, maybe no homework from other classes or whatever it is, you tend to get yelled at from the teacher. They will openly admit that they're a glorified babysitter, which basically they are. And but they'll yell at you if you don't have anything. When they give you something, it's very demeaning. Once in a very long while, you might get a movie, so that's a little bit of a break. But it's so fucking demeaning and so mind-boggling boring that it's like its own hell in itself. It's like a prison in itself. I mean, there's a lot better ways of handling that class than doing that to the kids. And the fact is that's how the school system handled it. Yeah, with the handwriting stuff, they did the typewriter thing, whatever. But the handwriting stuff, teachers complained about handwriting, so they gave me like a keyboard thing with a screen on top. I don't know what it's called since it's not really a common use item, but the school gives it to you. You use it, then you give it back to school at the end of the school year. Well, what ended up happening is the for the autism, for ADD, for any of that crap, you go to that room, and it feels like a prison into itself. if I have a kid that has mental disabilities, like myself, where it's high functioning and all that, I would not have them go through that. See, my biggest problem is the school system simply did not do its job in expressing the importance of getting a good grade, get to actually doing the actual work. See, when I was going through school, I actually, and some of my teachers were amazed, but pissed at the same time, that, I actually did all schoolwork, put in my backpack, just forgot about it. And because I was bored, had nothing else to do in that one class, or, it's whatever, because I was waiting for, my dad to get home because how much he worked. Basically, my teachers at the end of the school year were complaining, like, you're not turning in any of your schoolwork. And they're like, look, open your backpack and let me see it. And pull it out, and it's all right. And the thing is the school system just doesn't express the importance of the actual getting a good grade. They don't express the importance of actually doing anything worthwhile, or even giving two craps about even going there. The fact is they don't do their job in those aspects. And then on top of that, half of what they teach, like Greek mythology and some of this other crap, how is it going to help you in a day-to-day life? I've never had to need that. And looking at it from there, like, okay, knowing the Odyssey, okay, great, fine, whatever. Tell me, recommend that to me. But the fact, and that's, a great book and great movie. But how's that going to help me on fixing a house? Or how's that going to help me on fixing a car? Or how's that going to help me on a job? Or how's it going to help me in taxes? That's one thing they don't teach, is taxes, fixing a house, fixing a car, or doing other basic things. I'm sitting there, it's like wasting my time, and I have no interest into these subjects at all. But how they treat people with autistic is basically sit them in a classroom with nothing to do, yell at them for having nothing to do, and allowing them to get more and more miserable and potentially more and more suicidal, since, you're treating them like crap. And then you got the teachers themselves. What I found more than not is the students themselves are not really the bullies most of the time, if at all. Normally it's the teachers themselves that are the bullies. And even more so that the students will point out how the teachers are bullies. That's the unfortunate fact. That's how they treat people who are autistic or have some other problem. So yeah, it's stupid. I mean, it's very stupid, but that's how it was done when I was going through, and I hope it massively changes I hope it's already changed, but I doubt it. I mean, if I could push for a change in some positive way, I will, but I don't know how. So now we're getting into the videos itself. So as far as the most recent question I got, it's did you find it hard making friends with autism? And as far as the answer to that is, I found it hard to make friends in general. I don't think it's really as much as, oh, you're different, I don't want to be around you type of thing. I think it's more of my lifestyle when I was a kid. I honestly thought I was going to move so often. I didn't know what was going to happen from day to day, week to week type of thing. When you got a parent saying we're going to move, trying to put everybody in one household and doing their best or at least what I'm soon to be depressed. Well, the fact is that that's what happens. Why am I going to make friends with someone when I think I'm going to move soon, or there's potential that I'll move soon? Now, in general, yeah, kind of, but I think everybody's that way. As far as making friends and whatever, um, being able to approach people, stuff like that, so maybe a little, but not. I don't know, not. See, the thing is I don't know if it's because of the lifestyle that kept me from making a lot of friends or any friends at times, or being autistic. So I can't really answer it being the autism or not. But as far as things goes, it does make it a little bit more difficult as far as I can tell. But then again, I never not been autistic, so I don't know. Um, so I don't know. But I don't think I've ever ran into a problem where someone says, I don't want to be around you because you're different, type of thing. Teachers, yes. Teachers, I've dealt with that, where the teachers would treat you different in a negative way, not in a, oh, you need more help or whatever. They would treat you like pure shit. But as far as students or now, like if I was out to make friends, people ain't gonna treat you different because you're or treat you like crap because you're a little bit different. Um, everybody got their own problems and whatever. It's whatever. As long as you can put some coherent sentences together and make some logic out of it and whatever, then people tend to treat you just like anyone else. The ones that don't, you don't want to be around them in the first place because they tend to be racist, or this SJW crap where they tend to race bait everybody or whatever, and or the actual races and stuff. You don't want to be around those, and those are the people who would imagine treat others differently, but I never had to really dealt with them. I mean, I'm not going to go up to them and say, "Hey, I got no reason to do that." Um, but as far as people I've dealt with so far, it's never really been too much of a problem at all. But as far as me wanting to make friends, that's another story. I don't really care all that much at all, as much as other people might. So as far as this, I'm pretty sure it's troll, but whatever. So what is mentally healthy? Basically being able to function in day to day life. Your day to day life might be, oh well, most likely is 100% different from someone else's. What you have to deal on day to day is going to be different from a city to a farm. It's going to be completely different depending on where you are. So, being able to function in your day to day life. What is mentally ill? Not being able to function to some degree, or completely not being able to function. That's my 2 cents on that. So I mean, like, you could be schizophrenic all day long, and you might be mentally, in my opinion, you might be completely mentally healthy if it's a healthy environment. If you're a psychopath and you just want to kill everybody and you're a war zone, well, technically that's mentally healthy because that's what you're going to be doing. But if you're a psychopath and you're in a city and you just want to take everybody out, or on a farm or whatever it may be, well, that's not going to fly, and that would be mentally ill. I know it's a pretty poor example. Like say for example with Asperger's. Asperger's is very common for someone with Asperger's to not be social, not to be out there, to avoid social, all that stuff. If you're like that in a city and it requires a lot of social interaction and stuff like that, then you're mentally ill because you're not able to function fully day to day. However, if you're like on a farm or whatever and you're pretty much isolated to start with, well, you're able to function, but based on everything else, you're able to function day to day. So it's mentally healthy in that environment. That's just, again, personal. I don't know what you mean by this second part. Who, and I kind of explain the who is healthy and why. So number one is, what age were you diagnosed with autism or Asperger's? I don't know. I know somewhere when I was in high school, somewhere between 2007 and 2000. That's the best I can give you. It might have been before then. I really don't care. This is the thing, is there was no emphasis on labelization when I was growing up. It's okay. You got ADD. You got whatever. Okay, I mean it's like now most adults, if you get diagnosed with autism, okay, unless you got to go through some marriage cancel or something like that, was it going to change? Well, that's the thing, is when I was growing up, it's like, okay, was it going to change? Okay, you get me medicine. All right, now we're talking about something going to change. The medicine got me sick all the time, the Adderall, Ritalin, and some of the other stuff. It got me sick, or feeling sick, or always hungry, or not hungry, almost like a zombie sometimes, and just so many other problems where I just didn't want to deal with them anymore at all. And as far as that goes, it's, if I'm not having to take medicine, if it means unless there's an actual cure, or some pathological or something like that, what is it supposed to mean to me? So I didn't really pay attention at all. It's like, okay, you just tell me that my ancestor was Scottish or was Irish or whatever it may be. What is that going to do for me right now? And how's that going to change things for me right now? It's one of those type of things where I didn't care. So I don't know when exactly it happened. But I know it was somewhere between somewhere in high school, I think. So sorry, I can't give more of a exact. Kind of answered that question in there, anyways. And holy crap, I just noticed that this video is getting up in almost to 2-hour limit. So sorry about that. So I'm going to see if I can cut it down to be a lot shorter in some certain areas. But as far as that goes, if you want to ask me anything about this or whatever it may be, feel free to do so in the comment section. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, share, and check out my other channels. My stuff will be in the right side of my channel, my other channels. And let me know what you want the next video to be on. Anyways, see you next video. Hope you have a great day.